where do we think things are going in the future? Well, firstly, I don't think we can ever turn the clock back. When I started work on an arable farm in East Anglia, we had 5 tractors, all manufactured in the UK by different manufacturers and painted different colours. We're never going back to having that sort of manufacturing base in the UK, but we are going to see future opportunities, particularly relating to technology, and it's important that we're in a position to grasp those. Technology is not going to go away and it's not going to reduce. So we are going to have to look to establish strong links with other sectors and to recognise that that's going to have implications for personal expertise and training. I think one of the strengths of our institution is that it's very people-centred, and people are going to be key when we're looking at taking technological ideas that have been developed elsewhere and seeing how they can fit into the agricultural and land-based environment. As you've already seen from the title of the conference that's going to be in November, collaboration and incidentally competition is key. Working partnerships both across our sector and between sectors are going to be absolutely critical. And I think it's worth recognising what really makes an agricultural engineer here. But we're a mechanical engineer that has, or mechanical engineers that have a good appreciation of the biological environments in which they work and provide that specialist appreciation of those environments is what makes an agricultural engineer, and I think we should be proud of it and pleased to exploit it. The demand for high quality food, and this is not new, I'm sure everybody recognises that high quality food at a relatively low price, produced in a sustainable manner, is going to continue. You've only got to listen to Michael Gove or read any of the publications that are coming out at the moment to realise that we're continuing to go in that direction, regardless of the political climate that is going to develop. And that's going to need robust production systems, traceability, good environmental management, high levels of animal welfare, crucially, I think, operation with a reduced labour force. And I think that's going to have to come because we're starting to see now that the agricultural environment is finding it increasingly difficult to recruit the labour that it needs. And so the agricultural engineer has a key role in addressing all of those issues, and I think we will all be very familiar with the way in which we've done that in the past and are likely to be able to do that in the future. Dick's talked a bit about the agri-tech strategy, and I think that's been important to show a government commitment to the sector. As a personal reflection, I think the funding mechanisms that have been used have, and I'll use the word limitations, I think throwing big chunks of money out in big dollops is perhaps not the most effective way of building a sector, but it's the way in which we have to live with, and congratulations to those organisations that have been able to build on that, and I hope we can build on it in a successful way. I think the institution has a very strong role to play, and I've already said that I think the institution is based essentially on people, and that those people are well placed then to, through the institution, demonstrate levels of competence, facilitate collaboration, and ensure that our industry has a high profile. And I think that's true now, it's been true in the past, and is going to get more important in the future.
Thank you, Paul. I also like to say a few words about the future as I see it. We've used the word collaborative all the way through the presentation, and I think this is essential. There are so few agricultural engineers around that we mustn't let the institutional silos, professional jealousy, budgetary boundaries stand in the way of progress. We have to work together. We also have to think on a world stage. Just looking at this little island of ours isn't going to solve the world's problems. We have to work with our partners all around the world. We need to be professional, and we need to support institutions like the IAGRI in all of the work that we do. We need to keep what we do practical. There are many people out there that have got some very high-flown ideas which may have some useful spin-offs, But basically, it's got to work on the ground and on the land in agriculture. I would like to emphasise the fact that I think the engineers working in this sector need to think the whole of the system and agri-systems and what happens on the farm and in the glasshouse and other growing environments is critical. I am very worried still about the lack of training in soil and water engineering and farm buildings and structures. And one of the main problems there is that there are so very few career opportunities in those sectors. And so the trainers can't put forward the programmes, and the undergraduates and postgraduates aren't coming forward to take the work up. It is essential that all of us do report our findings in the literature and on other means. The fellows from Harper that have done the hands-free hectare have made a great impact by using social media to exploit their works and tell the world about them. And good luck to the other guys from the Yellow Gold Project for getting onto the TV programmes and making sure that the world knows about the activities that agricultural engineering professionals are doing. We need to all engage with the training and the mentoring of youth. We need to encourage young men and women into the business to make sure that it continues to prosper. We also need to educate society with respect to food and farming and the key roles that agricultural engineers have to make, so that we don't have to go back to the chief scientist and ask to be able to write a second report because people forgot to put engineering into the work. As we draw it to close, I was one or two reflections that we have, and this picture of some of my former PhD students from Silsoe who now work in different parts of the world. We had a celebration back at Harper Adams a few years ago to reflect upon the opening of the new lecture theatre there that was funded in part by the Douglas Bomford Trust, and the lecture theatre is named after Douglas Bomford now because the Bomford Trust helped to set the ball rolling in terms of fundraising for the new Agricultural Engineering Innovation Centre there. And the interesting thing was that at that event, Mark Moore, who is in the centre of the photograph at the bottom, he came up with the statement that I've got the best job in the world. Every speaker after him also coined that word. They were fighting with each other to try to say who'd got the best job in the world in agricultural engineering. I didn't like to criticise them because I had the best job in the world. I had the benefit of being able to train them, and it was a pleasure. And the second reflection was captured by some words that another one of my former doctoral students said to me in an email a couple of years back. Those years in the UK were the best years of our lives, and we miss those times and the people that made that happiness for us. Gordon Spohr a few years ago asked the housing development on the Silsoe campus if plaque could be put up to act as a memorial, if you like, to the work and the location of the college. Here you can see it. It's not easy to read because the plaque is so bright and shiny, it's like a mirror. It's very difficult to photograph. But I think it reflects, in my opinion, the fact that the light shines from the former Silsoe campus. So, and it works at Cranfield, it's working at Harper, and it's working around the world with all those Silsoe boys and girls that graduated from there to do what they had to do. I wish, and Paul wishes with me, the institution all the very best for the next 80 years. And in particular, we wish over the next couple of years all the very best to Jane Rickson as she takes over the role of president of the institution, and the Silsoe boys wish the Silsoe girl all the very best. Good luck, Jane.